McBride wasn't enough excuse. I got more now. And Glide Memorial, I got all kinds of excuse. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Ah!
Here
Hey,
we go.
everybody. Here we go. Hallelujah. Lord be with us. Well, welcome to Book Club, everybody. Oh, it is August and August 26th, 7 p.m. I've been counting the hours. Rev Stephanie, the none other than, I'll introduce you in a minute officially, but we've got the Canon Reverend Stephanie Spellers. I mean, just a fantastic human being who wrote Church Tomorrow, What the Nuns and Duns Teach Us About the Future of the Church. I always say, Steph, that like if you didn't do your homework, you are still welcome tonight. It's going to be an incredible time. But those of you that have read the book, uh, please feel free to throw stuff in the chat. I mean, we're kind of on all kinds of platforms, but Brandon's a superstar over here and he's watching all the comments and chat. So throw a question, throw a little whoop whoop in there. We're going to give away some books. Shoot, might as well do it one right now. If your birthday is, I don't know, within 2 weeks of today, send us a little, hey, I want a free book. And Brandon will follow up. You don't have to put your personal email and stuff. Just throw it in there to us. Throw it in the chat if you're here on Zoom. Um, by the way, we started an online bookstore. Those of you that don't know, so you don't have to give all your money to the billionaires in Amazon. You can order right from redletterchristians.org, and all the money supports the Jesus movement. Stephanie, yeah, come on. We're going. So when you buy stuff, we've got like great books and we're adding more all the time. Most of the book club books are on there. Also great shirts where it's like shirts that say, what if Jesus meant the stuff he said, and have the entire Sermon on the Mount on the back of them? Come on. You know you need a shirt with Jesus breaking a gun over his knee. So we got it for you. Just go
Want
to
these. I want the swag. I need the swag.
you need it. Okay, a few other things going on, y'all. If you haven't seen, we've got this powerful movement of solidarity with, I mean, victims of violence all over the world, but particularly the families in Gaza and in the West Bank and Palestine. So we've got these communion platters, and this is like very on point with the things, the creativity and imagination that Reverend Stephanie talks about. But these are made in the holy town of Hebron. We've got one that has the entire Lord's Prayer on the plate in Arabic, and another set that have the beautiful iconography of Hebron there, the fish and the loaves. So you can get these along with a toolkit for using it in worship. You can also get it for your family or to put on the wall, but it's a reminder that at the heart of the Jesus story is a God that cares about the suffering, and so much that Christ was willing to die but not to kill. And so we remember that. We remember the victims of violence, especially the families in Gaza, as we take communion and remember the broken body of Christ. So we did a really powerful practicum around it. It's all recorded and we've got it archived. We heard from some amazing Palestinian friends. Man, do you know Lama Mansour, Reverend Stephanie? She is, I mean, I think one of the great theologians in the world, and happens to be Palestinian as well. And she did just an incredible little mini sermon, and we had Ferris Abraham that joined us. So you can see all that. Next month, well, in about 2 months here, we've got our Peacemaker Summit in Philly, where we're going to be talking about all the intersections of peacemaking work. We're going to fire up the forges. We've got like 5 or 6 forges that get 2,000 degrees. We're going to melt guns down and turn them into garden tools, y'all. Whoop whoop! Come on to Philly if you're looking for an excuse. I'll even we got some amazing Philly food that we're going to have. So all that's happening. You can find all of this on the Red Letter Christians website. But hey, we're 5 minutes in. That means we have only 55 minutes with Reverend Stephanie Spellers. So get ready, y'all. We're diving in. So, I mean, how to introduce you? You're just an incredible pastor. You have, for many years, helped lead the Episcopal Church along with Archbishop Michael Curry. We've done stuff together at Red Letter Christians many times. I always love when we can be together in person, but this is close enough. And this new book is so powerful and so creative and special. I haven't read anything quite like it. I got all my pages. I just like shredded it. So I got all my notes and I'm ready to dive in. So thanks for
You know
doing
it
this.
better than I do right now.
I don't know about all that. So, I mean, you dedicated it. The dedication is to the nuns and duns, and you interviewed, what was it, like 45 or so people, right? That you spent time with. You knew some of them before, but some you didn't. And rather than just reading data and statistics, you let them speak for themselves. That's a big chunk of the book is hearing from them and inviting what they say to sink into our souls and hearts and maybe to see the Spirit moving in new ways. So, yeah, I think the first thing to start with is the bad news, right? I
Because
mean,
it's rough. It's rough
yeah,
out there.
it is. Woo, it is rough out there. I mean, you like dive right in. I mean, you can give us the crash course, but the Presbyterian Church, lost more than half its membership. So did the United Church of Christ, like in the last 3 decades. So you track this 30-year period, Lutherans saying goodbye to 36%, Methodists to 31%, but even more if you look at the recent fallout from
Yep.
split in 2023. So you say, if these figures don't send a shiver down your faithful spine, I'm not sure what will. So say a little bit more about the bad news of church decline, and we're sure going to get to the good news in a little bit. But yeah,
Indeed. Well, and I'm going to be bold right here, Brother Shane. And first, just thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Your energy, your love, your heart for Jesus that just shines bright as the sun. I'm so inspired just being in this virtual space with you and with your crew, with our crew of folk
mm,
who know that we're following those red letters. We're following what Jesus said. And the rest of it we'll just have to work with another
yes,
way. Um, but it's so good to be here and to be talking about um, what you just said, that oh, the bad news of church decline. I'm not completely sure it's bad news.
yeah,
Because what I would submit to you just straight out the gate and like knowing us, knowing what we believe in our souls, a church that's not actually following Jesus doesn't deserve to grow.
glory.
It doesn't deserve to flourish for its because it's doing it for its own sake.
Mm,
It's not doing it for the sake of the gospel. It's not doing it for the sake of freedom and the flourishing of creation and of all created beings. Um, and if that's not what's going on, then please hang it up. Um, so, which is why, honestly, it's why the book is Church Tomorrow with a question mark, right? It's like
yes,
I'm not. It's not a foregone conclusion.
yeah,
And some scholars are even rougher, about this than I am. Christian Smith, I quote some of his stuff in this book. This is a dude. He's a Catholic scholar. He's in Notre Dame, I think. I'm gonna get the school wrong, but he's got this book talking about like Christianity being obsolete. So I'm not there, but I do feel like it's a genuine question mark,
yeah,
because when you've got especially the mainline denominations, and you don't carry these churches around on your heart the way I have to. I'm back, dude. I'm serving in an Episcopal church again, like in a parish for the first time in 14 years, Shane.
yeah.
Um,
Bless you.
and I just sat with them this weekend and we were talking about what their numbers were 20 years ago
Mm,
what they are now. And this is one of the most innovative, exploratory, freewheeling churches out there, and they've lost almost half their members in a 20-year period.
Mm, yeah.
Um, so I just feel I'm like something's going on. And
Something is going on. Yeah.
so I was like we need to hear the prophecies. And
Yes.
ultimately, that whole process is good news if it brings us closer to Jesus.
Come on. And the section right here is called Can These Bones Live? Hallelujah. Coming right
Yeah,
out of the story of bones getting flesh and muscles and coming back to life. And so, I even
please.
think of, old Saint Francis when he said, he heard the whisper of God say, repair the church which is in ruins, like bring it back to life again. Good stuff can come from the compost, as we say,
Yeah,
even the compost of Christendom. So
yeah,
I was thinking about the grapevine in my backyard. It's like 8 years old, Stephanie, and I mean, you have to cut that thing back. It hurts me every year,
yeah,
but I mean, we cut that thing back to like the very root, like just they say you want three main big artery sprouts coming off of it, but we're cutting so much, and it does feel like there's some pruning happening.
yeah.
And I get so frustrated. I don't know how you did it, to be honest. I mean, you ain't got to get all the dirty laundry out there, but I mean, to be in those institutions where there's just one congregation here in Philly that I was talking to, they got, we have $15 million in the bank and we don't know what to do with it. I'm like, let me help you. Let me liberate you. Hallelujah. Yeah, like, oh, you can't take it with you. And you've got 20 people on Sunday.
But they're preserving that institution. They're loving on that institution. They're doing whatever their canons told them they were supposed to do, but they're not actually doing what Jesus told them to do.
Yeah.
So that is so much, and we'll get into this, but
Yeah.
that's so much of what I heard from the young ones that I was interviewing and I think I even saw a comment in the chat already from who was this talking about? Is this Linda Ruth? I think. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, Linda Ruth, who's got a millennial daughter, loves Jesus. Jesus is all right with me. Jesus is all right with them.
yeah.
Um, but they can sniff us. And when they sniff us, they don't smell him. They
Yes.
don't
Mm,
smell Jesus. They don't, and I say that of myself too. I mean, but we're ultimately followers. We are not the one, but you ought to be able to smell him on us. You ought to be
yeah.
able to tell that when we are given the choice between preserving our $15 million bank account and feeding some children, we're going to go feed some children.
Come on. Yeah. I
Come
mean,
on.
and the it's not just the folks that are leaving. I mean, that's huge. And you track even the Southern Baptist Catholics, like it's kind of across the
Everybody's
board,
hurt.
the
Everybody's
fallout.
hurting right
Now, the
now.
exception is um
Yeah.
alarmingly, right? Some of the Assemblies of God and some of these charismatic congregations that are not all white Christian, or you call it what do you call it? Not white Christian nationalism. You call it
What Christo nationalism? I'm not
nationalism.
giving
That's
them
right. Come
Christian.
on.
Shame.
Okay.
I'm not
I
giving
got
them
you.
Christian. They can't
Yeah.
have
I
it.
usually put it in
They can't
quotes, but
have it.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Christo.
But they're not all that, but these are growing parts of a of the folks that profess to be Christian. I'll often think of Bartholomew de las Casas that was with Christopher Columbus. He talked about folks pretending to be Christians, and I'm not going to judge people, but there are some people that it doesn't smell like Jesus. It
Mm.
doesn't sound like Jesus. It doesn't love like Jesus, and yet it is pretending to be Christian. Right?
Yep. And it's getting the headlines of Jesus.
Yeah,
It's getting people knocking at their door when they're having that moment of awakening. Like, where did they take that? They
yeah,
don't know. A lot of us are even there. And I put that on us.
yeah.
I put it on us that we've been protecting the wrong things quite often.
So
And
yeah,
now we are reaping what we have sown as empire. So that's a whole other book I wrote, Church Cracked Open. But
Lord, I
but
know.
but to look forward and to say, all right, that reckoning is upon us. These numbers are the reckoning.
Yeah.
So go out and talk to the young folk. And by young folk, I mean, I interviewed people between the ages of 18 and 44. So millennials and Gen Zers. Go out and talk to the generations who right now are about 44% nuns and duns.
Yeah.
About 44% of Americans 18 to 44 would identify as having no religious affiliation whatsoever. So like it's the largest hunk of that group. Like there's not that many Christians in that group. Like the rest of the group, like 56% gets split up between Christians, other religions, whatever else. But
Yeah. And you
most of
say
them have
this,
opted out.
you say they're opting out of organized religion, but they're
Mhm.
not leaving God. And I think
No.
that's a really beautiful part of your book is talking
Mhm.
about, and it's not just the cliche of spiritual but not religious. Like, I mean, it captures it. That's a little bit. I mean, I know there's a lot
Yeah.
of scholarship that's gone in, but you ask them these questions and they were very revealing. So, is it like the four questions, right? Do you want to say a little bit about those, like the
You
four
bet.
questions? Yeah.
You bet. So I was a reporter before I was a priest. And so it matters to me, that like when God gives you a question, go out and explore it with people. So I went out with four questions last year. I spent about 3 months on the road, and I had just finished working for the presiding bishop's staff for 9 years. So I needed a trip, and I needed to unplug from the institution. And so I just went around interviewing non-religious millennials and Gen Zers across America. And I had four questions. First question, tell me about your spiritual journey. How did you even get to where you are now spiritually? Second question, how and where do you encounter the sacred? And some
Mhm.
people would say the sacred, some said the spirit, the universe, a lot of universe out there. Shay, a
Yeah.
whole lot of talking to the universe. Um, but whatever language they use is like, that's cool. Just tell me how you connect with whatever that reality is for you. Third question, how and where do you experience belonging and community? That was the heartbreaker.
Mm.
Well,
Yeah.
so many people have ways of connecting with spirit. It's a lot of it is isolated, a lot of it's privatized, a lot of it is mistrusting of any kind of community. A number of folk told me I don't even know how to be in community anymore.
Yeah.
So when I asked them that one, that was the
Oh, I know.
heart.
I think I got choked up reading that. And,
Yeah.
and the loneliness, right? You talk about
Yes.
how, the United States is generally a very lonely country, but millennials, it's just off the
Yep.
charts. That
And
the
Gen
kind of
Zers even
loneliness. Yeah,
more. It's
yeah,
accelerated loneliness. There's a wonderful article in the Atlantic where the guy talks about it's like this isn't just about loneliness. It's not even just about yeah, it's not just about being lonely. We are officially becoming antisocial.
yeah. I remember that. Oh,
Yeah, yeah. And so
I mean,
like
you even
people
have the
don't know how
antisocial
to.
shirts, right? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's a
We're joking
brand
about
now.
it. Like
Lord
this
help
is
us. Yeah.
funny, y'all. Funny. Like you can have
Oh,
entire generations be antisocial. That's not cool.
not good. Um,
But then the fourth
yeah.
question was the prophecy. I
Yes.
wanted them to tell me and to tell all of us, like, what would you tell churches if we would shut up and listen?
If we were listening. Yeah. Yeah.
If we would listen. And so here
Mm.
I was, a churchy person. I wouldn't wear my collar. But they all knew that I was a priest. It really, I don't know that it mattered. Folk were just pouring out their truths.
Yeah, I want to talk about that because one of the comments here is someone that said, and many of them have been seriously hurt by the church. But one of
Yeah.
the things that you point out is that this is not a monolith, and there were folks that had real pain and hurt from the church. But there are others who was just kind of like, no, it just didn't work for me, or I got bored, or like and so what were some of the things that kind of surprised you? Or I mean, one of them is you talk about how like open people were. They just like were so willing to talk and engage you. But other things that struck you as you were doing these interviews?
I mean, I don't want to gloss the fact that I was so surprised by how welcoming people were. Folk in I visited with people in the Bay Area, so where I now live, as it happens. I visited folk in New York and the environs. I visited people in Atlanta and near there, and then visited people in the Twin Cities, including Minneapolis. God bless our siblings there. Um, and then some smaller places, by Zoom. And I was just shocked by how, when I put those 4 questions in front of people, honey, I would set a conversation. It was like setting a timer for 45 minutes, flew.
Mm,
They had so much to share. They were so excited that someone was even asking. They, there were so many young ones I was talking to who were grateful. They were grateful for the
mm,
chance to find their own words, to find some language for the spirit thing that's been happening inside them, but nobody's taken it seriously.
mm,
And
mm.
so for me to just show up in their worlds, taking them seriously, um, it just unleashed something powerful. And what it tells me is that if anybody out there wanted to just go out with 4 questions, the ones that I just named, you would be overwhelmed by the response. Often we think, well, nobody wants to talk to me. Nobody wants to talk to a churchy person. Nobody wants to talk about faith, about whatever. Like they can't wait.
Mm,
They can't
mm.
wait to talk to you. And again, if we're not out there having that conversation with them, somebody is.
Yeah.
And that somebody is likely misrepresenting Jesus.
Come on. Say
So
a little bit about the toolkit that you've created, because you've created some resources that might help people like, be a little
yes.
less hesitant or whatever. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I try to do modeling. I try to equip folk whenever I'm writing a book like this. So yes, there's the book. Please do like get it from the Red Letter Christians bookstore. Get the book. But you can also go to my website, stephaniespellers.com, and featured pretty prominently on there is the site or is the page for this book. And on that page, you can get my free toolkit.
Cool. And
It's
we've
a
got
free
the
toolkit.
the link there in the chat. Cool.
There
Yeah.
you go. There you go. But yeah, there's a toolkit. It's got different strategies for reading this book. If you're in a small group, if you're in a church where they're reading it on consecutive Sundays, like over the course of 6 or 7 Sundays in a season, it's got strategies if you're reading by yourself. It's got strategies um, for action. So if you want to take this book and actually use it to reimagine your own congregation, to get your own community moving, then there's a whole like action section of the guide and of the book as well. But the guide takes it even further. I've got links for you to all the different ways that folk are living into what kind of the response to the prophecies of the nuns and duns, because there are a lot of churches out there that actually are reimagining, they are
Yeah.
innovating, they are taking risks, they are going outside for worship, they are doing the things that these nuns and duns told me they're waiting to see us do. uh,
Yeah.
so I tried to find as many of those examples as possible, and those are in the guide as well. And there's also a section at the end of the guide on how to conduct your own listening campaign.
Boom.
So it's
Yeah.
all there. No excuses.
It's there.
No, but this wasn't practical. I feel like my first book, somebody tried that out on me, and I was like, I never want to write another book that somebody says it's not practical. It's like if you don't want to do this, just say so, but don't tell me it's because I didn't tell you how. So
Come on. All right, let's give one away. We're just getting started, y'all, and we've got some to give away. I'm gonna have to tell you, we gave a book away to Canada, and I got tariffed, man. I got tariffed. I charged us $30 to send a book to Canada. So if you win a book tonight and you're in Canada, you please give us a little donation at Red Letter Christians to cover the postage. But anyway, let's give one away. Stephanie, you get to give one away. You can pick somebody randomly, or
all
you
right,
can do something
let's
fun,
see.
whatever you want to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna look in the chat. I'm gonna look in here and see who's been hitting it up, who's been really active. I feel like Linda Ruth I don't know if she's got a copy already, but if she doesn't, I think she deserves a copy for the conversation that she's like all up in this conversation.
Heck
So,
yeah.
sister, can we
Um,
send you a copy? Are you in
We got
Canada?
you, Linda. Yeah, and she's a
There you go.
regular around here. You know, it reminds me
Oh,
of
wonderful.
when if you've ever been to the Corning glass place, they always give away a really beautiful piece that they make live. And my
Wow.
wife always jokes because when we go there and they're like, "We're gonna give away a piece," I go absolutely nuts, and I almost always win it, and it's like a $200. So I've got like my whole like glass gallery in the
Hilarious. But you see,
house.
she is in Canada, so I'm gonna let y'all work that out with
Okay,
Jesus.
we're gonna work it out, Linda. You
Okay.
got you. But let's do this. If you've been pastoring or serving the church as a volunteer layperson for more than 20 years, uh, throw us something in one of the comments or chats,
Yeah.
and the first two or three people will send you a book to say
Oh,
thanks for what you've done and also to
man.
keep our imaginations going. So, okay,
Amen.
let's dive back in. I mean, one of the
Yes.
things that's so interesting is your little like you do this hot take on history of institutions that was so insightful, because
That was fun.
it's not just the institutional church that's hemorrhaging.
Mm-mm.
There's another Atlantic article that says why this generation hates. How will this generation change Washington when they hate it so much?
Yes.
They're fed up with
Mhm.
politicians and legislators that seem to get so little done. I mean, democracy is also being deconstructed, things like the Electoral College, but it's also like the Sierra Club, the Boy Scouts, I mean,
Yeah.
the NAACP. So give us that little crash course of history, because I mean, it's like a 15-year period or something that boom, we just like started all of these institutions, and many of them like we're feeling kind of this vacuum there right now. So say a little bit more about that. That was
Yeah.
really fascinating though.
You bet. It was fun to kind of gather all of that information. I mean, I feel like the first third of the book is basically a dissertation in 60 pages. Because I really was like, I just went swimming in data, swimming in history, because I wanted to understand, like, so what's the real story of America as a Christian nation and then becoming essentially a nation of nuns?
Yeah.
And how did we get from one place to from point A to now point wherever we are L, because the story's not over. Um, but being able to recognize, oh wow, like for so much of American life, Christianity was the like as America was being built, Christianity was one of the institution building tools.
Mm,
And so, I mean, just building the fabric of America, Christianity was right there for the job. And so like in some of those critical moments, especially after the Civil War, um, the churches were booming. After World War II, again, churches booming. Moments when America had kind of hit the skids as it was coming out, the church institutions were right there to grow with the country, to kind of make those turns with the country. And then you had the turn. I think the big turn was honestly the turn, and I thank the baby boomers for this, but the turn that we took in the 50s, 60s around liberation and really asking questions about identity, asking questions about community. Um, and just as so many folk were just as so many folks were questioning the institutions that they had grown up in, you were getting, sorry, I'm like, just as that was happening, you were getting media, you were getting multimedia, you were getting television, you were getting all of these other forces coming in. And so we become atomized, we become privatized, and the idea of being with others, being defined by a community, a civic group, like for decades, a century or so, we were defined by those affiliations. And then by the 50s and 60s, it just started to disintegrate
Yeah.
with that lack of trust, with folk breaking free. Like, again, there's something good about the freedom. It's good that we were questioning racist institutions, patriarchal institutions,
Mm.
warmongering, all of that. Like, thank God we did that. And we weren't building anything in its place. Instead,
Yeah.
television was grabbing us and saying, but just come here. This is the culture you seek. No, it's not. This is the community you seek. No, it's not. People are crying more over the death of JR on Dallas than they are over, a friend. I'm really dating myself. But that's when it was really emerging, was that television presented this monoculture,
Yeah.
and the only shared experiences we were having. And then you get the internet, right? And then you
Yeah.
get the internet, which takes our media attachment and then like shatters it into millions, billions of pieces.
Yeah.
And then you get a pandemic
And
a
the pandemic.
pandemic
Yeah.
that pushes
Mm.
us all into like even smaller holes, even smaller pods. And the shame of it, the sadness, the thing that breaks my heart, Shane, is that coming out of pandemic, Americans are actually reporting they're lonelier now than they were when we were in the height of a pandemic. So
Yeah.
it really broke something. It broke our spirits. It broke our bonds. It
Yeah.
broke the culture. It broke the institutions for sure.
Yeah, and we'll get back to the nuns and nuns for sure because they're at the heart and center of this book. But I mean, that was
Yeah.
so. I mean, a few of the things that struck me because you said in 1776 when you do this like
Yeah.
wow
Started it
dissertation,
early.
it's like
Hmm.
17% of the people in the colonies were part of the church.
Yes.
17%, right? And then so like this is why the myth of American, Christianity is like complicated, right? Because they like, yeah, I mean Jefferson took parts of the Bible out, right? You've seen our Trump Bible, right? This was the first,
Right.
this is a King Donald version. We took out all the love and compassion, right?
Yeah.
But that like Jefferson took the parts out, and then but then you said by 1950, 91% of
Yep.
Americans said they were Christian. And that's
Mhm.
when you really start to see this like
Mhm.
um, the in 1956, In God We Trust on the
Yep.
money, One
Yep.
Nation Under God
Mhm.
imposed upon this that like I mean you're thinking like this is not that long ago, right? Some
It's
some of the
really
people
not. It's
were
really
alive,
not.
right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Well, and you've got McCarthyism at the same time. So there are reasons why so many Americans were like, yes, yes, sir, I am a Christian. Yes, sir. I believe in God. Yes, yes, yes. It's not that there weren't nuns back then, it's that it wasn't safe to say so.
yeah.
And you were also cutting yourself off from identity and community. Today, people can say, with, if anything, younger generations, the harder thing is coming out and saying, I'm a Christian, right?
Yeah.
If you say, I'm a nun, if you say, I don't really believe, it's completely normative now. But yeah, 70 years ago, that was just not the case.
Yeah,
Even
and then that
even
keeps
as
shrinking.
recently as the 1980s, that was not the case.
Mm,
Like we were
mm.
still like by, I think I've got a figure here for you. Yeah, 1998 was the year that I was baptized.
Yeah.
Still in 1998, 87% of Americans identified as Christian.
Yeah, but that drop that keeps you, and then you
Exactly.
go to
Exactly.
2008, it's 80%, and then
Yep.
just
Yep.
like 2023, it's down to 68%. And when
Yeah.
you think of the generation, I was thinking of it like a whisper line, right? Like the further you get from the 19, 80s crew, like it's just not passing on. And some
Yeah.
of it, like you said, it's not worth passing on. It's not Jesus that's got
Right.
the bad reputation. It's a sort of heartless Christianity. It's a doctrinal statement, And I was
Mhm.
thinking, Stephanie, as I was reading part of it, you said I mean, this generation wants to change the world. They know that stuff's wrong. And,
Yeah.
Tony Campolo, our dear brother and co-founder of Red Letter Christians, he used to say, and I'll never forget it, he said, this generation is leaving the church not because we've made the gospel too hard, but because we've made the gospel too easy. We've turned Christianity into a doctrinal statement, and young people want a revolution, right? They want a Jesus movement. They want to change the world. They want a Christianity that cares not just about going to heaven when we die, but a God that cares about the suffering that's happening right now. So
They
I was
are
thinking of that.
watching, including like I interviewed atheists who were holding us accountable to our own Bible, who were saying like, hey, I'm an atheist. So when I see the crazy stuff going on, how we treat the poor, how we treat people who are unhoused, any of that, I know in my gut this is wrong. And I have to respond out of what I just know to be true. You have a Bible. You have a Bible that tells you that when people are vulnerable, you're supposed to go and walk with them, stand with them, protect them. She's like, "What are you doing?
Mm,
What happened to your Bible?" So yeah, like they're watching us,
yeah.
and that's the prophecy part. Like so much of what I heard when I was asking these millennials and Gen Zers, so what would you tell churches if we would shut up and listen? A big part of what they wanted us to know was if there are any actual Christians among you, please stand up because we can't find you. We can't
Mm,
hear you. We imagine that you must be out there somewhere, but right now the white Christo nationalism is so loud, it's all we hear. And even if we wanted to have anything to do with Christianity, is not worth it. It's not worth it.
yeah.
But because we can't find you.
Mm, mm,
They are calling us, they're saying, if you're going to follow this Jesus, then like now or never, like
yeah.
put up or shut up, Christians.
Hmm.
And I took that in. Like it honestly changed my vocational trajectory, man.
Yeah.
I was in a search, I was in a job search process for a kind of a not cushy, but a big job that people kind of expected I would take, the kind of job they expected I would take coming off the presiding bishop's team.
Hmm.
Everybody figured, oh, she'll go be a bishop, she'll go be the dean of a big cathedral, she'll do this, she'll do that. And I was interviewing these millennial and Gen Z nuns and duns while I was in that interview process myself,
Wow.
like for one of these jobs.
Mm, mm,
And I backed out of the search because I
wow.
realized in real time these young ones converted me. And I was like, I can't take a job where I know that so much of what I'll be doing is tending the building. I can't do it in good faith. It's like I can't do it.
So deep.
And so
Seriously.
I reached out,
Mm,
and the bishop in that place was like, "What? But but you were like one of our top twos. Like I appreciate that, and you can take me out of the running. This is not where
mm,
God needs me. God
mm.
needs me to be taking the prophecies that I've just heard more seriously, and I can't do that in this job.
Wow.
Like if you listen to them, they will change you."
I'm just sitting with that for a minute. I'm just sitting with
Yeah,
that. That's beautiful. I
yeah,
mean, it also
yeah.
says so much about your, I think, sensitivity to the spirit.
Trying,
Um,
trying to
hmm.
follow, just trying.
So we got a few minutes. I want to like, there were some other takeaways, right? Like, I mean, it was powerful to hear, I mean, unsurprisingly, but profoundly that folks find God in nature, right? I mean, I was
Yes,
talking to a
yes,
scientist yesterday that's like, actually, when you put your dirt in the ground, we can see the brain activity. Like it releases like good stuff, serotonin and all the stuff,
yeah.
like just to be in nature. When you see a butterfly, it does something to you. Like, so,
Oh,
um,
that's
but
Christ.
I
Yep.
mean, there were some other things, right? Like nature
Yeah.
was part of where people experience the sacred. Community is some
Oh,
belonging, something folks are longing for. What
yeah.
were some of the other takeaways?
How about I'll frame the takeaways as the four prophecies. How's that?
Yeah, yeah, great. Yeah.
Great. So I already mentioned one of them, which is will the real Christians please stand up? It's kind of a tongue
Yes.
twister, but they want to know if there are any real Christians out there, and if there are, speak up, which to me
Yeah.
says it's time for us to claim our identity as the Jesus movement.
Yes.
So that's a part of like a takeaway for me is they actually don't want us to bury this, this gospel, to um, bury our faith, to just be kind of like in the middle of everything and speaking nothing. They want clarity from Christians.
Yeah.
They want us to
Uh,
be clear followers of Jesus.
I mean, this had the red letter Christian vibe all over it, and you got
Yeah.
this quote, I think, from Bishop Curry, is that Jesus did not establish an institution, though
Yep.
institutions can serve his cause. He did not organize a political party, though his teachings have a profound impact on politics. Jesus did not even found a religion. No, Jesus began a movement fueled by his spirit, a movement whose purpose was and is to change the face of the earth from the
Mm,
nightmare it often is into the dream that God intends. So
yes.
the
So
movement.
they're waiting for us to step up as members of that movement. And maybe if we do that, they'll join us. But that's
Mhm.
honestly not even the point. The point is, are we going to follow or not? And as we do that with integrity, things will change.
Yeah,
But I mean, we won't be dying because we're living in Christ. We won't be dying. um, but anyway, but the second of the prophecies from these just blessed prophets I had
yeah,
just the joy to speak to, they said to me, stop making idols of your institutions, your buildings, your rules, your dogma. Um, what I would say to my own Episcopal crew is your prayer books.
mhm,
Every church has idols. It's also just part of being human, of course. But the question is, do you recognize what the idols are? And are you consciously just working, praying, and being held accountable so that God is first?
yeah,
And the truth is that if you just look at our meetings, if you look at how much time we spend in a meeting talking about a building, how much time we spend in a meeting talking about the finances, and how much time we spend talking about how we served the Jesus movement.
yeah,
And we like to say, but the building is a part of that. Yeah, and and in your heart what your focus is. And these young ones see when they watch us, the ones, so many of the folk I spoke to, Shane, actually grew up Christian and grew up, like you said
mhm,
before, not wounded by Christianity, either bored by it
yeah,
or just kind of meh by it.
mm,
Feeling like you're not doing much of anything except taking care of your own stuff, taking care of
mm,
your building, taking care of your small community. Um, like you're not giving it away, and they sense we should be giving it away.
mm.
So they are calling us out on our idolatry,
You
and
ever heard
that's
that
real. Hmm?
I think it was Soren Kierkegaard that told that story of the duck pastor, that one where he's like, you can fly. He's speaking to a flock of ducks. He goes, you can fly, you've got wings, you can fly. And all the ducks quacked amen, and then they all waddled home.
Yes, exactly.
Mm,
So many of the folk I met
mm,
saw that growing up.
mm,
They saw what our real priorities were. They saw that we were not invested. We weren't innovating. We had
mm,
a thing
mm.
that we loved, we were holding on tight. So what that says to me is that we need to remember that our institutions serve a movement. Our institutions have to be able to innovate, and
Yeah,
our institutions exist for the purpose of liberation. That
yeah,
anything our institutions are doing that's not about those things, liberation, innovation, and faithfulness to the gospel, we need to be
yeah.
able to let it go. Third
So it was,
prophecy.
yeah, too. Yeah,
Third prophecy. Go meet the God who is waiting outside. And this is what you were saying about
yeah.
nature. I honestly, I got to tell you, when I first heard people talking about, like, so where do you experience God, or where do you experience the sacred? Oh, when I'm walking outside, I'm like, if I hear about another tree, you know. And I kept listening. And what I realized was folk are having deep experiences out there.
Hmm.
And then I remembered, so am I.
Hmm.
So are you. So was Moses. so was Jesus. You go on and on and on.
Mm.
So are the
Yeah.
Psalms, up and down. God promised to speak to us in that book of nature. We can't control it,
Mm.
so we dismiss it,
Yes.
right? But these,
Yeah,
but
that
the,
I love how you said that. I love how you said that.
yeah,
I got a relative that goes hunting all the time but never shoots
mhm,
anything. I'm like, why do
yeah.
you go hunting all the time? And he's like, well, it's kind of like church. I just feel like I'm being with God. And I'm like, that's beautiful. Maybe just leave the gun though. He's never shot, never shoots it. So that's free. The nature
Yeah, so
and
go and engage. And again, what that says to me, to us, is that all right, I guess we've got to take that book of nature more seriously, and we've got to go worship outside more often. And all those churches who went and worshiped outside during
yeah,
pandemic because you couldn't be inside your building, and as soon as those doors opened, we went back inside. Go back outside. And you
yeah,
will find nuns and duns galore outside having time with the Spirit. Go join them.
yeah.
And I've given lots of examples of churches, communities that are doing that, that are saying yes to that invitation. But the point is, go to the places where people are actually meeting God, show up there, and then discover your own closer connection to the Spirit.
So good.
And
Okay,
the
so I got
final, the
yeah, go
final
ahead.
of
Yeah,
these
yeah,
prophecies. Here we go.
yeah.
Final prophecy. They told us,
Yes.
please form loving, embodied communities that welcome our whole authentic selves.
Mm.
They are not willing to do the kind of compromising and compartmentalizing that so many of us have done for generations, where we've stopped expecting to be moved by the Spirit. We've stopped expecting our lives to be changed by an encounter with Jesus. We've stopped
Mm.
expecting, um, you know, to have a real community where I can say what's honestly going on in my life and not just put on this show.
Yeah.
They've seen the show, they've seen people phoning it in, they've seen obligatory membership, and they are not having it.
Yes.
They're not having it. They're not
Hmm.
wasting their time with it. And the question that I feel like they're putting to me, putting to us, is why are we wasting our time with a community that doesn't welcome you to be your whole self? Why are you leaving yourself outside?
Yeah.
Why are you not integrating your financial self? Hello.
Mm.
With your physical self, with your spiritual self, with your sexual self, with your all of these selves. Like
Hmm.
God can hold it all, but we've
God can
been
hold it all.
holding so much of ourselves outside. Um, and it
Mm.
shows up in how flat we end up being. Our worship ends up flat and feels fake. Our
Yeah.
community gatherings end up flat and feeling fake. And again, they don't smell like Jesus. So
Don't
what they're
smell like
saying
Jesus.
is, we need some embodiment.
Mm.
We need some authenticity. That's the buzzword, right? Authenticity, authenticity. But they're not wrong. They're not
You
wrong in
know
asking
that.
this of us, and we should be asking it of ourselves.
Yes.
Get real
Let
with
them
the
that have
Spirit.
ears hear. Yeah. Hallelujah.
Yes. Yes.
That smell like Jesus thing. Every time you say it, I think of Mother Teresa. One of the prayers that Mother Teresa and the nuns pray every morning. That they still the missionaries of charity still pray this.
Yeah.
Dear Jesus, may every person I come in contact with feel your presence in my soul.
Mm,
May I leave off your fragrance everywhere I go. That's their
yes.
prayer. That's a
Yep.
beautiful prayer.
I
Okay, I got like two
that's
more questions. Is that okay? I got like,
okay.
if
Please,
you've got
please.
questions, bring them on, y'all. If you have someone that you want to give the book to, not yourself, but you want to give a book away, then the first person that lets Brandon know in your little chat there, we're gonna give you maybe a second books to give to a friend or family member. So there you go.
Wonderful.
That's another giveaway. So the two last things I wanted to talk about. One is that like I mean, the nuns and duns are not a monolith, but you do like
No.
paint some common threads that it's generally a multicultural group. The nuns tend to be more liberal. They're mixed in education. They're split down the middle when it comes to gender. And so you kind of paint this. But there's also some things that you talk about the millennial zeitgeist. And this is, I mean, these are cultural phenomena, but they're also like the individualistic, anti-institutional, relativist, anti-authority, multicultural. Say just a little bit more about um, because the thing that I loved about your book is like people are we're equally made in the image of God and beautiful, but also like still figuring it out, seeing through a glass dimly. And there are things that are absolutely worth embracing for, an aging institution and the youthfulness of today. And there's also some funk, right?
Yes, 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 yes. Well, and I wanted to be really clear on this too, that it's not that I'm holding up millennial and Gen Z culture and saying churches ditch everything and just do what they
Yes.
be like them. Like, no, actually, many of them are struggling. They don't feel connected, they don't feel rooted, they don't feel like they don't feel beloved. They don't feel so many of the things that many of us do find in our faith communities. So it's not that I feel like, oh, they have all the answers and we just need to close up our doors and give it all away. That's not the answer. The answer is to weave
Mm,
this shared fabric, where the wisdom that they are gaining out there in the world, the wisdom that says that the only thing that will work now is real love.
mm,
That like the fake stuff, the performance of love is not going to get it anymore. I get that more profoundly from them,
yeah.
because they are faced with so much that is manufactured.
Yeah.
And so they are looking desperately for what is real.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, thank you for calling us to account on that. And now I want to invite you. Like, if you want to walk with us, we can create some real communities of love together.
Yes.
And
Mm,
I'm telling you that in part, like that real community of love, like I live in San Francisco now. My church is St. Gregory of Nyssa Episcopal Church.
mhm,
um, my church is an easy walk. I can reach Anthropic headquarters and I can reach OpenAI headquarters.
mm,
So I am in the center of a culture that is quickly disconnecting from human reality, from
mm,
human being, from human bodies.
yeah.
So I am so clear that the folk on the street around me, I'm like, this is definitely a case of like, y'all need Jesus, but not just like, but what I mean is, y'all need bodies, y'all need bread and wine,
Mm.
y'all
Y'all
need
need to
to
dance more. You need to dance more. That's what one of your
exactly.
points, right?
Yeah, like churches need to dance, but a lot of the folk I met also
Yeah.
desperately need to dance.
Yeah.
And I'm at a church now that actually dances. I love that. Like every Sunday around the altar, we dance.
Mm,
Um, but it's I'm like nobody's got all of the answers here, but
yeah.
but like they are starving for connection, starving for belovedness, starving for an experience of the holy that you don't have to pay for.
Yeah.
Hello?
Come on.
uh, or have the
Yeah.
right code for or whatever. So that's real too. And it's like we know something about that. We don't know everything about it, but we know something about that. So bring
Yeah.
what you got. Like bring the goods, bring the
Yeah.
treasures from the storehouse. And
Mm.
we will weave, with what is old and what is new, and that's how we're going to create whatever this church for tomorrow needs to be.
Yeah, and that's the last thing I was going to ask you about is like I mean it's not anecdotal. It's not like there's one like thing that we all need to do to reach new members or something, but
Right.
there were a lot of things that you point to, and you also are like are really clear that you're not just saying every pastor needs to integrate like tarot cards in their service or something. Like if
Right.
I got so many young friends that are into astrology and all and but you're also like but like lean in. Don't like I mean, you got to be curious, right? And I think of one pastor said that a young person told him, they asked him, like, what are Christians like? And he said, they're the people that don't have any more questions. They only have answers. I was like,
Mm,
that's stone, right? Ooh. Um,
mm.
so the
They're
curiosity, the
curious.
questions, the imagination, and you talk about, fresh approaches to buildings, fresh leadership, the nature thing, the dancing more, authentic communities of love.
You
Anything
got
else
it.
you want to say as far as like, I mean,
I think
I think,
discipleship. And actually, Nick just put it. Thank you so much, Nick.
yeah,
You've posed it as a question. I would put it as a statement. We need the
yeah,
mystics. We
mm,
need to cultivate that intimacy with Jesus Christ, the intimacy with the Spirit, that actually, because that's when you start to smell like the one you follow. It's
mm,
when we are when we are cultivating that mysticism, that
yeah,
intimacy. So yeah, I feel like ultimately
so good.
discipleship and practice, doesn't it always come back to like, are we following, being rooted, being rooted in the word, the life, the blood, the wisdom, the sacrifice, the love of Jesus. Um,
Mm,
and practicing that, following him so closely that it really does begin to become our life. That's really what we're talking about here. The rest of it, it's like if you're following him that closely, then yeah, worship outside is not going to be a big deal.
mm,
You'll be at the riverside before you know it.
come on.
If you're
Mm,
following him that closely, then authenticity is just going to drip off you. You can't
mm,
help but be real. You can, if anything, you're going to be the one who says stuff, and people look at you like, "Did you just?" And be like, "I just told the truth again."
yeah.
Like
Mm,
so much of the rest of the practical transformation that needs to happen for kind of mainline, for just regular old Christianity, starts with getting embedded, more deeply embedded in the life of Jesus.
Oh, this
That's our
hour
answer.
flew by, y'all. This hour flew by. I'm going to give you a chance to send us out with a little benediction and prayer, but let me just say this first, y'all. Thanks for being a part of this, and I want to also say that we're trying to do as many events like this as we can for free, and but if you can donate to Red Letter Christians, it just allows us to make sure we're taking care of our wonderful guests like Reverend Steph and have more book clubs and more things. So if you can give, and just go to redletterchristians.org and make sure you stay in touch with us. The other thing I was going to say is um, join us for morning prayer on the first of each month. We do morning prayer, and we almost always have guests for that as well. This next week on September 1st, at 9 o'clock, we have morning prayer, and we're going to have some of the community here at the Simple Way join us. And this is the thing I was thinking of too, Stephanie, when you were talking about like, it's like 5 hours people are spending on their phones and the epidemic of loneliness. One of the other things to think about is as you're doing book club and morning prayer is get some friends around you. Like it doesn't just have to be a virtual event. There are now folks that are reading these books together in real time each week,
Wonderful.
talking about it, having a meal together, and then joining book club together. So think about how to build real community, even using some of the tools that we're working with here. And so thanks, Stephanie, for tonight. And I'll let you send us
Yeah.
out, but I'm gonna read the prayer you close with and then hand it to you. So this is
That's the prayer I was gonna go
oh,
for.
do you want to do it? Do you want to do
May
it or you
I?
want me to do it? Yeah,
I
you do
always
it.
end
Yeah.
my books with a benediction.
Hallelujah.
So
This is it.
I would love to offer it up right here, right now. Ah, oh, dear ones in Christ. Someone out there will offer you guarantees, crystal balls, a 10-point plan for success. Don't believe the hype. Here I only offer a fervent prayer that you will go forth with curiosity and love. Go and be uncertain and vulnerable and let the stranger host you. Go and ask questions you don't know the answer to with people whose wisdom you have long ignored. Go and discover new elements of your story revealed in the fertile space between you and the other.
Mm.
Please, my friends, go to reclaim and proclaim a faith rooted in the life and love of Jesus. Go and be real, embodied, and full of delight in the Spirit and in one another. Go free of the need to maintain what God never asked you to maintain. Go sit by the riverbank and sing your song. Go and discover the God who was there all along. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. And thank y'all for joining us. Bye for now.
God bless. God bless the revelation.